So let us understand how to calculate molecular masses of molecules, that is either elements or compounds. Well, the general formula for molecular mass calculation is number of atoms of an element present in a molecule multiplied to the mass number of that element in the molecule. That means we simply multiply the number of atoms to its mass. That is how we calculate the molecular mass of any particular element in its molecular state. So let's start taking the simplest example of oxygen molecule. So molecular mass of oxygen molecule is simply calculated as number of atoms of oxygen multiplied to the mass number of oxygen. Now as we can see in the formula of oxygen O2, there are 2 atoms of oxygen. So therefore 2 multiplied to its mass number. Mass number of oxygen is 16. Therefore we multiplied the 2. Answer comes out to be 32 AMU. AMU is, children, the unit for molecular mass, that is atomic mass unit. Now let us try calculating for nitrogen. So molecular mass of nitrogen is simply number of atoms of nitrogen multiplied to the mass number of nitrogen. Now as N2 molecule has 2 atoms, therefore 2 is the number of atoms of nitrogen multiplied to the mass of nitrogen. Nitrogen has a mass 14. So we multiply 2 with 14 and the answer comes out to be 28. And AMU is the unit of molecular mass, atomic mass unit. Let's take up another example. Now we are taking examples of molecules where atoms are of different type. We had taken example of nitrogen and oxygen. There the atoms were of the same type. So let's take examples of molecules which are now compounds. So molecular mass of CO2, that is carbon dioxide. How do we do such a molecular mass calculation? So for such a calculation, we simply need to multiply number of atoms of carbon multiplied to the mass number of carbon. That's the first element. Plus number of atoms of oxygen multiplied to the mass number of oxygen. That means we have to take into account both the atoms involved in the molecule. So to do the calculation, number of atoms of carbon is only 1. So we take 1, multiply it with the mass of carbon. Carbon has a mass 12. So 1 multiplied by 12 plus number of atoms of oxygen here are 2. So 2 multiplied to the number of multiplied to the mass number of oxygen, which is 16. So 1 into 12 is 12. Plus 2 into 16 is 32. So 12 plus 32, answer comes out to be 44 AMU, atomic mass unit. So this is how we calculate the molecular mass of carbon dioxide. Now let us try to calculate the molecular mass of sulfur dioxide, SO2. SO2 is also known as sulfur dioxide. So here again, since we have 2 different atoms, we will multiply the number of atoms of sulfur to the mass number of sulfur plus number of atoms of oxygen multiplied to the mass number of oxygen, and then we add the 2. So to calculate, number of atoms of sulfur are 1. So 1 multiplied mass of sulfur is 32. We multiplied with 32 plus number of atoms of oxygen in the molecule are 2. So we write 2 multiplied to the mass of oxygen is 16. So 1 into 32 plus 2 into 16, answer comes out to be 32 plus 32, which is equal to 64 AMU, atomic mass unit. So I hope you all have understood how to calculate molecular masses of simple molecules.